Welcome back, everybody, to Quake Pro League Week 8. I am Semi-Solid Snake, aka 40 Lines, joined by a much more responsible, much more handsome human being called Flea. Flea, it's a pleasure. How are you?
Doing well, 40. It's really good to be back on the mic with you. We've had to miss you for a while, so I'm glad that we're both back on here.
I'm so glad that you lie to the people. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. I know that you're in for the pain train today because we won't have DJ Wheat. That's right. Unsupervised the whole day. It's going to be a mess, and I'm very excited. But, Flea, it's going to be week 8. We got a whole bunch of matches, 7 lined up. But let's take a look at last week, just in case somebody committed the ultimate sin of missing Quake Pro League. Let's take a look at a quick recap of what happened and what went down.
Yeah, we started things off with Maxter versus Toxic. Toxic, we're all so happy to have him back in the league. His performance so far, I believe he's ranked 10, so that's an admirable spot to be in given the level of competition, but last week Maxter just proved a little too strong, taking down Toxic in a convincing 3-0 manner.
Oof, throwing him off the map. Yeah, a little bit rough for Tox, but yeah, Maxter just proven time and time again. He's here to play. He wants to raise that belt. Still a long way to go, but making good work of Tox on this one, 3-0, as you said. Very well played. And then jumping into Av3k versus Sirius, a little bit more the same as Av3k took this set 3-0 over Sirius.
He sure did. Sirius, the aim god of the league, still putting up that brilliant LG of his, but fortunately, it takes a little more than that to participate at the highest level. Now that said, Sirius absolutely isn't doing bad by any means. 4 wins versus just 2 losses, giving him the 8th place overall in the global standing, so the man is absolutely holding his own. But last week, Av3k just proved to be a little too strong.
An absolute legend, really. You got to be able to play your best game. I'm jumping into Xron versus Saigib. We're going to see Xron in a little bit here, but Xron actually taking this one 2-1 over Saigib, Flea.
Yeah, Xron, I do believe that was his first win of the season. Obviously, the man's playing in conditions that aren't ideal, but it is so good to have him back. I know a lot of people were disappointed when they saw him leave the Quake Pro League a few seasons back, because he really is one of the wizards when it comes to discovering those neat new little tricks and bits of tech. So I'm looking forward to see what else he can come up with.
A lot more in store. Wenger versus Sib, 2-1 for Wenger. Lee, how do you feel?
Man, surprised. That was my reaction. It was so close. In that one game, I do believe here, Ruins of Sarnath. Sib taking the initial lead, Wenger clawing some of that back, and then bringing us to a very, very tense, nearly 4-minute overtime before Sib caught him out on the bounce pad. A lot of people were surprised with that result, but hey, Sib took himself home the win. On that final map, overall series still went to Wenger, of course.
Not bad at all. Rafa versus Dramas. Rafa taking it 3-0. We've seen some highlight shots from both players. Fantastic combinations, but Rafa, again, kind of the end boss here. I know Kilson's up there too, but Rafa, for at least the Americas, still showing the world that he's still got it. It doesn't matter that he's 57 years old, Flea.
Doesn't look a day over 60, 40. Doesn't look a day over
Not
60.
at all.
But yeah, Rafa still holding on to that #1 spot. Now, truth be told, he has played one more match than some of the players that are chasing his spot, right? So Wenger, Razy, and Kilson are all closing in on him, and they've got 1 fewer game played. But even then, Rafa's still looking dominant, having the most map wins in the entire scene so far.
And jumping into Zeneku versus Strong Sage. Zen taking this one 2-1, but Strong Sage still showing that he belongs here and he can upset almost anybody at any given moment. So you got to put respect on his name.
Absolutely, that's going to be interesting to see. Now, Strong Sage currently ranked last, but he's also only played 4 matches and everyone else has played at the very least 6. And you know that this man is capable of great things.
Another man that's capable of great things, Kilson. Taking it over Nosfa 2-1. Kilson looking to raise that title for the 4th time and tie Rafa in overall victories for the Quake Pro League. But that is the full breakdown, the recap from last week. If you missed it, check the VOD back. Watch every single game, every single map. But those are the overall scores for Week 7.
Now, Week 8. 40, we have got some excellent matchups ahead of us today. I'm sure we'll get an overview of them later, but just some highlights. I think we're going to end with the best match of the day. Rafa versus Wenger to close it off is a series that I'm really looking forward to.
Hell of a headliner right there as we take a look at the breakdown. Xron versus Av3k coming up next. Razy versus Strong Sage, Drama, Sib, Chain, Toxic, Maxter, Kilson, Nosfa, Sygib. And again, that heavy hitter at the very, 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 very end, making you all wait because you got to learn to be patient.
Rafa the Professor is gonna teach you some patience today, but Wenger so far may just be his most challenging opponent he's had to face this season just yet.
It's true. We're gonna have to wait a little bit to see the Sultan of Sour Cream go up against Wenger. But for now, Xron versus Av3k should be a fantastic matchup. Xron, again, having a bit of a rough road this season. His welcome back to the Quake Pro League. Not the most inviting, Flea, but he's trying his best. Av3k, you know, able to pretty much be, I would say, top 4 easily at any given tournament, any given moment. It's just a matter of what Av3k is able to show up and what he's able to do, really, as we take a look at the breakdown for Xron and kind of his history. Blood red. It's a sea of red out there. Why do you have to put my boy on blast like that, PGL? Ouch.
A lot of threes as well, meaning that even the matches that he did end up losing, he wasn't able to secure that precious bit of cash by securing at least one map win. But maybe last week marks a turnaround point for him, finally getting that first win of the season against Sygib.
Yeah, a little bit of momentum goes a long way, and then you hit a brick wall that's Av3k. So it's going to be rough, but, you know, a win is always good. So he has a little bit of confidence going into this one. But again, Av3k is a bit of a monster, so I think he's got a tall task ahead of him. But we'll see. Any given Saturday, that's what we like to say here as we take a look at Av3k's history so far in this season of Quake Pro League. Not as bad, but also, I mean, not really up to the Av3k standards that we're used to. Maybe we'll see him excel a little bit more later in the league as we get closer and closer to the World Finals, where he really shines.
I mean, you can clearly see, right? Av3k got off to a difficult start. 3 losses off the bat, but afterwards he has turned it around and he has won 3 out of the 4 most recent matches that he's played, including against the likes of Chain and Sirius. So clearly, the man is building some momentum, and let's see if he can continue that today.
Yeah, maybe the trifecta of 3-0s in a row. We will see shortly. We are going to get into it. I believe we might have the pick bans. Producers? I don't know. I don't know if we're there yet. There it is. We did it, Flea. Ruins of Sarnath, Molten Falls, Awoken, and Flea, if you will do me the honor of running down the champ picks, please.
Indeed, map 1, Ruins, starting off with 2 very fast, very squishy champions. Anarchy versus Slash. Speedsters work really well on this larger map, lots of open space, lots of areas where you can really build that momentum and then conserve it flying through those hallways, either by the air control that Anarchy has or the crouch sliding of Slash. Now map 2, Molten Falls. We're seeing Visor versus Ranger, so the burst damage and mobility going in Av3k's favor, but Xron can play the more passive, defensive, information-based game because of that piercing sight. And the final map in the series, Awoken, we're seeing Xron actually take away one of Av3k's favorite champions, the Galena, will be played by Xron, and Av3k will attempt to counter with that double jump by running the Doomslayer.
So taking a look at these picks and these players, how do you feel about this lineup? Who do you think can take this one?
Generally speaking, I am gonna give the edge to Av3k. Just looking at their recent form and how they've been playing. If we look at their match history for the actually surprising, Xron won the first 3 matches between these 2 players during the Quake Pro League, and then Av3k won the most recent one. So overall, Xron still has the most victories out of the 2 of them when going up against each other. But looking at Av3k recent form and how Xron is now only starting to really get back into the shape of things, I think that Av3k's got this one in the bag.
It might be. Both players seem to be heating up a little bit, but what I'm most concerned about between these two, there's no Keel. And again, I'm going to call it out every single time because it's absolute just ludicrous. But anyways, yes, it's going to be a fantastic lineup. The predictions are live in the chat, so lock in those channel points, you absolute gambling degenerates. No, anyways, so we're going to get into Ruins first. You said this Battle of the Speedsters, Anarchy versus Slash. Do you think it's going to be a fast-paced game? A lot of the time we get the quick champs, it's actually slower, Flea. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's difficult to say, and I think that that first match, the first minute, is already going to tell us the form that these players are in and the kind of matches that we can expect today. As you say, it sounds a little paradoxical, but very often with the faster champs, lower stacks, players are aware that if they just blindly jump into a room without checking their corners, without being aware of every little thing that goes on, they can set themselves up for a bad trap and instantly lose control, which can be very difficult to get back on a map like Ruins. So indeed, it is very possible that we might see a much slower and more passive opening to this series.
Totally agree. As the players are slowly readying up, chat. We're going to get there. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. But I asked the moderation team in the channel to please ban any Keel slander. I did see some of it, and it's disgusting. I almost puked in my mouth a little bit. But yeah, to start off with the speedy champs, as you said, speed is the name of the game. But with the light stacks, you do have to be very careful in how you implement that speed. Starting off, you always want to just kind of feel out your opponent. But you said these two have a history. Xron actually getting the overall victory. Av3k getting the most recent one, both players coming off victories, although Av3k's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, 2 3-0s in a row, looking for a third potentially. I'd like to see, you know, if the experience in this matchup tends to lean towards Xron and give him an advantage, or if Av3k is just too much of on a hot streak right now and is just going to dominate the competition. But we will see shortly. I did hear the bell flea. We're going to get into map number 1 here shortly.
Absolutely. Happy to be back on the mic with you, 40. It's been far too long that we've gotten to cast these incredible games together. And oh my, do we have some matches in store for you today. We are indeed loading into the first map of today. This is week 8 of the Quake Pro League. And we've got Xron taking on Av3k.
It's always a pleasure to be alongside you, Flea, and I'm sure everyone else complained enough, and they're like, we got to put someone else with 40. This is garbage. We suffer, Flea should suffer, so that's how we got here. But welcome. It's always a pleasure. Very, very happy to see you.
No Papa Weed to supervise us. No one looking over our shoulders.
My favorite.
Absolutely.
We should get scale versus scale every single match for the rest of the day. We'll see.
I've seen you make some interesting balanced suggestions as to what the devs should do with Keel in particular.
Constantly in talks
Twitter.
with sync error, you know. I'm just always trying to improve the game for everybody, but that's neither here nor there. Live on map number 1 here shortly. It's going to be Ruins of Sarnath, Xron versus Av3k, Anarchy versus Slash. Week 8 of Quake Pro League is officially underway. Starting it off,
I believe, on the perspective of Xron. Making his way down, picking up that heavy to start things off. He's got the railgun as well, lands the opening shot. He knows that he's got the weapon advantage over Av3k, and that Av3k can't really retaliate at that distance just yet.
Just a sprinkle of that trail damage for Xron right there. Just giving Av3k some information, but he is armorless right now, looking for a little bit of an armor shard, hoping that he doesn't get caught out here. Ooh, nice rail from up above. Return rocket, just to make sure that he doesn't dive down on, as Xron and Av3k both split the items yet again.
I wouldn't exactly call this a very slow-paced game for it, because there have been plenty of challenges, plenty of players putting themselves out there, but no one has really committed in full. No one has gone all in on a decisive fight. They're both still cautious.
I'm getting a little crazy with it. I love it. Ooh, that rocket's so close. Oh.
Big rocket from Av3k. Xron gotta make himself scarce for a moment. Can't contest just yet. Nice LG though, and the rail to follow it up. Can he find the kill shot? No! Xron struggling with the dodges a bit, and Av3k will be the first one to secure a frag.
Unfortunate there for Xron, but Av3k coming up big. Getting the first frag, looking to add on a little bit more. No item for 10 seconds. Heavy's going to be first, but both items very close, about a second off. It's going to be tough to control both. That's a big rocket around the corner, forcing out the inject from Xron, but he does dive down onto the Heavy immediately. Av3k just wants to control the Mega for now, and Xron stuck in a bad way. He's actually going to take the jump pad again. That's free damage for Av3k, and 2 rails makes quick work of Xron yet again.
And another one, Av3k. 55% railgun, kick things off. Looking a little tender himself though. Xron, nice little burst of super shoddy. Doesn't quite cut it. And this is the point where Xron has to kind of be careful about this snowballing out of control. 4-0 already. Av3k now, no doubt going to make a move onto the Mega. Gonna hear that Heavy being collected, I think. Might try to offset the items a bit. Yeah, 5 seconds in between them, that could work.
Oh, these rails. Av3k is just heating up right now, and Xron just can't do anything about it. Big rockets as well from up above. Shotgun is out. Smells blood in the water. And the rail to finish it. Av3k is just on fire right now.
Absolutely. Not missing even once. Oh, that hoverboard. So loud, Xron. Oh, that... Xron making an appearance with the gauntlet. And just as I say that Av3k hasn't missed once, he just whiffs 3 rockets. And Xron actually walks away with the heavy. Or the mega rather, makes a move on the heavy as well. It's got an opportunity. Super shotgun plus forward, but no, falls short in the end.
The aggressive play with the gauntlet almost turned out into a frag, into a miracle, Flea, but Av3k was able to finally put the stop to that with yet another rail. Shooting 60% rail against an Anarchy is not easy. Av3k's doing it right now, 6-0 early on too, and this is kind of where the speed comes in, where as a slash, you kind of keep hitting these defensive rails and keep running if you wanted, and that might be the map in the bag. Obviously a lot left to play, but Av3k just won't miss these rails.
Xron was actually hitting the exact same percentage of rails, 60 each, but Av3k hitting 11 of them, Xron just 3, so that makes all the difference, and indeed 40. Av3k is already in a position where if he just plays the plus back, holds that railgun out, tries to maybe steal away an item here and there after landing a rail, fending Xron off, he might just be able to run down the clock with the lead he has. 6 frags, that's a lot of distance, a lot of ground for Xron to make up.
Gotta put in the work, all order. He's gonna need to hit some of those rails of his own here. Wow, nice little flick from Av3k right there. And another one. Almost another one.
Av3k has done more than half of his damage with just the railgun. Over 1,000 points of damage with rail alone.
Dramas is smiling somewhere as he's warming up for his match later on.
Dramas is missing a few of those close quarters rails, though. We haven't really seen too many of those.
That's true. We need to see those shotgun rails, Av3k. Make it happen for Dramas here as he takes control of the eyeball, wants to control this T-Con before Mega. Heavy is up around the same time, so it's really on Av3k where he wants to go. Xron coming in hot right now, taking some big damage, needs to be careful, but no fear in the rockets will take him down.
Xron, aggressive on the push right there. Now it's a race for Mega. Av3k, just in time, but that LG, that hurts. Loses quite a lot of the stack that he managed to build with the 2 major items. But just look at that speed slash, so quick getting around the map. Decides not to go for the small armor right away. He's gonna hear Xron picking it up. And both players just kind of missing each other right there. That could have been another fatal encounter, with Xron actually having a bit of a stack advantage.
Yeah, but down 7, he's really got to start making something happen here. He can't have these little skirmishes. Can't afford to really play defensive and run away. That's a decent rail right now as Av3k tries to back up in the T-Con. Hits one of his own, but Xron does hit a little more damage on the way out. Now the chase is on. Can he finish here in the courtyard? LG on LG, 37 HP, pushing Av3k down, and he is trapped. Now it might just be a matter of a guessing game, 50-50. Can Xron guess correctly here and finish this off? And he can't! The rocket plants him right in the skateboard. That is incredible, Flea.
Xron finally gets that first frag, but indeed Av3k played that beautifully. And again, off the spawn, the instant refrag. Xron's gonna be regretting that one. Out comes the plasma. A lot of damage. Xron walks away with the frag. But look how tender he is. He is weak. Doesn't have that injection available yet either. He's gotta be a little passive. If he wants to have any shot at bringing this back, he cannot afford to give up more frags at this stage.
Not at all. That push with the plasma. Pretty fantastic. Just do that a couple more times here. Good rail. Av3k stuck in a weird position here. Does get out. Retreats to another health bubble and the Mega. 3 minutes for 7 frags. It would be something that we rarely see on Quake Pro League. It's happened before this big of a comeback, but it's going to take a lot from Xron.
Sure will. And against the champion as fast as Slash on a map as large as Ruins, I don't know about that 140. Xron needs to start landing these rails. Misses are just piling up. He can't let Av3k escape from the bad spot that he's finding himself in right now. There we go. Shoddy to finish it off, or LG maybe. Ugh. barely misses the shot and then finds himself caught between a rock, a hard place, and a lot of plasma trail. So actually it does have to allow Av3k to pick up the Mega right there.
Yeah, just brutal. And now I think Av3k has enough time to just kind of suffocate Xron and take the time off of the clock, and that is just an insane amount of damage from those nails into the LG, forcing out the inject. And Av3k can just kind of play this how he wants. There's the snail trail coming out. Good rockets to defend that T-Con. Mega's not going to be up for another 4. Shotgun up close! And Xron will take out Xron, but takes Av3k with him. Both get a decent spawn here, fighting for it. Shotgun versus plasma, and the shotgun prevails. That may have been the last opportunity. Now, granted, some may say that it was over before that, but I personally feel there's always time, Flea. I feel like
there's
one of the
always
greats
time.
has told us that.
Xron going for a little 360 right there. Style points, unfortunately, not translating into kill points this time around. And indeed, with just 90 seconds left on the clock, Xron, I don't think has any chance of mounting a comeback at this stage. Av3k knows that he's got this one in the bag.
Yeah, this map is done for, but you know, maybe in the future we could do some style point something, and that conversion rate, I don't know how that worked. We talked with Sync and the commissioner of the league, of course, but yeah, for now, Xron can do all the stylings he wants. He has to warm up for map number 2, as this one is all Av3k, 11-2, with maybe more on the way with a minute left. A good showing here to start off the set.
Absolutely. Now Xron at this point, no doubt, already thinking about map 2, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Molten Falls, a Visor being played by Xron versus Ranger on Av3k's side. So Xron probably already thinking ahead, just trying to keep his aim warm for now in the final closing seconds of this map. Maybe get some good rails in, boost his confidence a little, have himself feeling good about those technical skills of his as we move into map 2.
That's really all you can do after a loss like this, is just try and focus on the future. There's still 2 maps to play. There's still time in the overall set, Flea. See how I fit that one in there? And you just, yeah, you have to mentally reset and bounce back, especially at this level. These kind of games are gonna happen, but you hate to see it, as again, Xron on a rough road. Both players technically coming off of wins, but Av3k showing that his is maybe a little stronger, a little more momentum on his side as he takes map number 1.
Looking at the statistics, Av3k considerably more damage outputs. Item pickups actually pretty balanced overall. Av3k having only 1 major item more than his opponent, but the damage that really sent it in his favor. Av3k, the railgun, is so powerful, and then every single time it felt like Xron got close, Av3k had those solid defensive rockets at the ready as well, shutting him down, forcing him away again, and often getting himself another frag as well.
Yeah, really good rails to open up the game, and then Av3k, of course, has some of the best rockets in the game, so he could just kind of fall back onto those for close quarters combat. But I really think the rails opening up the game for Av3k gave him the ability to have that frag lead, and Xron kind of not respecting some of the angles, giving him free damage over and over again, and it all just kind of went horribly wrong there. As he mentioned before, playing a light champion, it can get out of hand rather quickly, and that's kind of the case here.
There you see, got a little bit of an overview, looking at the accuracies, the damage. Av3k played an extremely strong game, but let's see if he can continue that moving into map 2 of this series. Molten Falls. 40, what are your thoughts on this one?
So, Visor versus Ranger, I love it, but I'll always go with Ranger just for the versatility of the Dire Orb. I know the vision can be very, very strong at this level, having the information and getting the jump on your opponent, but I just feel like the Dire Orb, even if you get kind of ambushed, the burst damage, the ability to escape, misdirect is just so strong. Also, the passive with the rocket jumps of Ranger to be able to maneuver around the map even quicker and take less self-damage. I think that's going to come into play here big, 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 especially since Xron didn't really show any kind of, you know, the threat with the railgun, which, you know, Visor opening up rail angles with the vision is kind of going to be huge.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see more of that for sure. We didn't really see it on map number 1. The rail game kind of quiet for Xron, unfortunately. But, you know, it's always a new map, Flea, and you never know when I'm going to get surprised and be horribly wrong. So I don't know. Maybe I just jinxed everything, but I'm always looking forward to finding out. That's the best part.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I was just about to say the same thing. Map 1, Xron absolutely lost the rail challenge going up against Av3k, but now this time around, he's got that piercing side, and as you said, 40, that can open up so many angles, tell you exactly where your opponent is, being able to time those shots perfectly, line up the shots, knowing when they're gonna jump around the corner. So maybe that is the tool that Xron needs to just really go toe-to-toe against Av3k to bring his rail to the next level, and we've seen just how important a railgun can be at this level of play, so who knows, maybe the champion pick, the piercing sight, is what Xron needs to get back into this.
He just needs to see a W in his future, and we'll see if this is going to be the map to start it. 86% in favor of Av3k on this map, and we are live on map number 2, Molten Falls, and we're going to start off on Av3k yet again. Again, has the Ranger in hand with Dire Orbs, going to pick up the Mega straight into an armor shard, and he wants a little bit of that LG because his shaft is so strong, Flea.
It sure is. Av3k lying in wait, setting up a bit of a trap over at the LG. He knows that Xron wants to get his hands on that weapon. Trying to bait something out right there, Xron, not falling for it. Good opening rail. Av3k peeking, taking a look, seeing if there was maybe an opportunity for him to get that railgun too. And now we're really seeing a passive opening. I think this is primarily because the players are lacking crucial weapons. Av3k's got LG. He doesn't have rockets, and he only just managed to pick up the railgun. And now Xron finally making his way over to LG himself. Good rail.
Yeah, these are the rails that Xron needs right now. Already off to a better start, but dead even for now. Av3k has to respect the rail game a little bit more from Xron. It's still nice and slow. It looks like Xron and Av3k so close, and he's going to drop in big rockets, and there's the Dire Orb, and just enough damage to get Av3k out of there. And that Dire Orb, 19 HP with a little bit of armor left over, was the difference in that fight.
Absolutely, you called it correctly, 40. The Dire Orb can turn those bad situations around so quickly. Xron pressuring again with the nail gun. This is risky. This is risky. It's got a lot of stack to work with.
Oh my God.
It works. It works.
I love it. I love it. More of that insane play right there as Xron hits another great rail, almost connects with a second. He's able to claim the heavy. I don't think he's going to get to the Mega in time. Av3k waiting, setting a trap, but the vision could come into play here. There's a big pickup with the delay. There's a Dire Orb as well, and again, up close and personal, takes the fight right to Xron's face. Didn't expect it, catches him off guard, Flea.
That fight should really tell Xron everything about Av3k's playstyle going into this map. Both of Xron's deaths have been because Av3k was lying in wait, setting up a trap with LG and the Dire Orb. So Xron, he should know that that is the game plan, and he should be so cautious about just blindly jumping into anything. He needs those shotgun rails now, 40. Can only connect one. Unable to follow it up, and Av3k now building his lead.
A little unfortunate there. Needs to train with Dramas for the up-close rails, but also he just kind of jumped in blindly, as you said, that he needs to be careful of that. As Av3k has been lying in wait. And it seems to be the game plan. Lie in wait, set the ambush, have the Dire Orb in case things go horribly wrong, and right now he's 2 frags up because of it. So Xron has to slow things down. He doesn't have any armor right now, and he won't have vision for another 20 seconds.
Av3k, massive stack to work with at this point. Nice offset between the items as well. 10 seconds gives him plenty of time to just keep cycling the Mega and the Heavy. And Xron looking for an opening. He actually used his piercing sight in that fight, 40, and got nothing out of it. None of those shots connected. So I think he's gonna go back to the drawing board, get himself up to a 100-100 stack at least. And now, patiently wait for an opportunity where he can use that rail. Av3k actually not pressuring Mega all that intensely. Allows Xron to get away with it. Lots of damage on the bounce pad. Jesus, that LG. Massive 54% lightning gun accuracy from Av3k so far.
It's a girthy shaft, Flea. Very girthy there. And again, Xron, I don't think he expected the Dire Orb play because he was already leaving. And then before he knew it, got melted down, and then the rail to top it off. And Av3k, again, just showing how aggressive he can be, but it's like it's measured aggression. He's very good with it. Taking a lot of rocket damage now. Surely this has to be in favor of Xron, but even that splash rocket damage sending him packing. There's the fadeaway rail, but he can't quite hit it. The tri-bolt messing with his aim a little bit. Av3k gets away.
Big tri-bolt too, 90 damage just like that. Xron pressuring aggressively, but Doesn't have a lot of stack to work with. Can he get onto the item? Oh no, the Dire Orb steals it away.
Wow.
Yeah, whiffing a final few shots. And Av3k just once again putting up a testament to how versatile the orb is.
And just a little bit of hocus pocus is all Av3k needs in these fights to just gain the edge. 4 frags ahead now. Xron's got to be frustrated, but there's still time. Oh, this is a big chase, but he misses with the initial rocket, misses with the rail as well. He does have advantage here. Big rocket, but the rockets from Av3k are insane!
I was waiting for Av3k to use that ranger passive to just rocket jump himself up there and finish it off, but no, he didn't even need to. Despite the angle, he got himself the kill. Xron leaving a little early. Tracks back to make sure he secures the Mega in the end. And now Av3k holding on to a 5 frag lead. But this is pretty aggressive. As slow as this game started off, as much action we're getting now.
I love that patience from Av3k right there. Doesn't use the telly. Xron was begging him, just come through the telly to get the frag. And Av3k was just like, no, I'm good. I'm going to play frustrating, spam some rockets, and not go where you want me to. Finally, Xron able to take him down for a second frag. Av3k just showing that patience, knowing exactly where Xron wants him to go, and just not doing that. So, fantastic play. Still in the lead. But now he has to recoup a little bit, Flea.
No rocket ammo to work with either. We'll get the heavy. It's got a lot of stack. He's got to be able to chase Av3k down. Oh, those rails, 40. All they do is slow him down. Good rocket, but the orb again. Xron just kind of trying to brute force his way through the choke points before the Mega spawned, thinking that his stack, his superior stack, would help him get through that, but no. Av3k's rockets, sublime.
Wow. Nice rail flick there. And yeah, this is, again, unfortunate right now. Kind of spiraling out of control. Seems like Av3k just has all the answers. Xron trying to, as you said, brute force his way, and that's never going to work, especially against defensive rockets and rails that we've seen from Av3k. God forbid he gets a good string of LG on you. It's over, brother, I tell you what. Nice rail there, bouncing Xron away. There's the vision popped. Trying to get at least a Hail Mary rocket, but at the very least does get a little information on where the next fight could break out.
Av3k has a very good idea of where Xron is at. Still takes the rail. Fires right back at him though. Xron, even despite the piercing sight, 40. Av3k 62% railgun accuracy versus Xron's 38. The damage dealt overall is actually pretty close because Xron has been firing a hell of a lot of rails, but Av3k just more precise when it really matters.
Slow play right now. Xron just tucked in, but Av3k won't even go that way. Rocket jumps up using that passive, goes through the telly. He's all over the map right now, Flea.
Xron had a bit of an opportunity right there and wasn't able to actually do that much with it, but he managed to jump right on top of Av3k in between 2 bursts of tribolts. That was the sweet spot for him to apply pressure, but kind of fumbling the opportunity he was given, and Av3k still holding on to that same 6-point lead. And Xron, yes, he's able to secure many of these major items for the, but Av3k's defensive play, the damage output, it's so good. Just look at it. Xron has been able to secure the heavy, but it may as well just be 2 lies that he's picked up, because Av3k is just constantly dealing damage.
Aggressive rocket jump up into a nice combination there for Xron. Perhaps a glimmer of hope. A minute 30 on the board of 5 frags. Does pop the vision, has the information, needs to hit these shots around the corner, but won't take it. Falls back instead. Wants the heavy. Wants that stack because he knows he's going to run into a lot of damage, and I don't think he expected the tri-bolt right around the corner, but speed bumps indeed. Xron on the chase now. Trying to make something happen. Dodges the tri-bolt, but all of this time is just in favor of Av3k. 1 minute left, 5 frags. He knows exactly what he needs to do to secure this one. And that's why Av3k is one of the best.
Sure is. That's resignation. That little pause before the rocket jump back, that's resignation on Xron's end. He knows it's over. Gets away, 14 points of health, goes for another peek. Both players whiffing their shots, but Av3k will put the final nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, I always love how you can kind of tell players' mentality from in-game mouse movements. Like the translation of like just a slight pause is like that deep emotional sigh.
It really is. It like... really is. Yeah, he's accepted the outcome of this series. One more map still to be played though, still some cash on the line. So I hope that he can still find that motivation, the energy to put in one last bit of effort. The final map. Which 40 you know by heart final map will be? I need to look it up myself. That's
it's Awoken, sorry.
Awoken.
Yeah. It's Awoken. I thought it was rhetorical. It's fine. No, I'm here. It's Awoken, and it's going to be Galena versus Doomslayer. So it should be a good one. As you mentioned before, during the champ picks that we were reviewing, Xron kind of stole away the Galena from Av3k. So Av3k had to use the Doomslayer to try and counter that. Good mobility. On that map with Doomslayer to control T-Con to Mega and so forth. So we'll see exactly if Av3k has what he needs to push himself over the finish line for another 3-0, the third in a row. And it looks like, based on map number 1 and 2, that Av3k probably will, as Xron is he's struggling right now against Av3k.
He very clearly is. I also fear, 40, we saw on the previous map what Av3k can do when you give him a champion that has that mobility advantage in the orb, right? Now he doesn't just have an orb that's up every 40 seconds or so. He's got that constant double jump to work with. So Xron, kind of curious to see how he's going to approach this. Is he going to try hiding a few of those totems? There's plenty of little nooks and crannies on Awoken where you can stow a few of those away, build that overstack, or is he going to want to use them to get some information as to where Av3k is at and throw them down mid-fight to get that extra health boost in the moment itself? There's plenty of ways you can play Galena effectively, as Av3k has proven multiple times, but this time, the Polish Prince is up against his favorite champ himself.
Yeah, who better to know exactly how Galena can work and where the totem spots are than someone who loves to play Galena as much as Av3k does. So I'm sure he's ready for anything Xron might have in store, but Xron also has come up with very, very creative totem spots in the past. So who knows? Maybe this is kind of his rabbit in the hat situation here on map number 3. Granted, again, the series victory does go to Av3k already, but any map you win is money in your pocket, so Xron is going to try his best, I'm sure. But with map number 1 and 2 and the kind of hard-fought battle we saw Xron go through, I feel like Av3k might be able to take this 3-0. Taking a look at the predictions, 93% of people in the chat agree with me, which doesn't necessarily make them right. In fact, I worry about their channel points.
I mean, we've seen some major surprises and upsets happen on this channel. I've seen people tweet their earnings and channel points of this channel like, hey, I went 98% in on this player against Rafa and he took a map and there we go, all of a sudden I'm a millionaire. Yeah. So who knows, maybe there's some hope for Chad yet.
Hey, I always say predict the under because that's how you build your empire, and then you could highlight all of your messages, chat. Your dreams can come true, believe. Map number 3 underway shortly. Awoken between these two. Congrats to Av3k again taking the series, but we will play the third and final map as we always do here at the Quake Pro League because we like to stuff money in people's pockets. So if you're a fan of Xron and you believe, make some noise in the chat and let's see if he has what it takes to pull off one map from Av3k. We are live on map number 3. Av3k versus Xron, and we're going to start off on Av3k again as he has just been dominant in map number 1 and 2 in this series.
He sure has. Av3k, rocket and rail to start with. I think he's got a good idea as to where his opponent is at, especially after hearing that bounce pad. And this is how Av3k has actually opened up every map so far, 40. Playing it slow, trying to set up a trap. 1, 2, 3 rails in a row, but he's weak himself. Av3k, nerves of steel, holds his ground and gets the kill shot. Or again, third map in a row, he takes the initial lead.
Ooh, another rail. I don't even think Xron was expecting that peak right there, as that's just free damage for Av3k. Really nice positioning there. Xron trying to slow it down as that rail out. Trying to engage in more of a long distance, kind of slower battle here. Does need to be careful. 10 seconds to the heavy. Needs to start making his way over, and Av3k is just prepared. Perfect positioning right now to drop onto this heavy.
I also love the awareness on Av3k's end. He was very deliberately peeking over that little ledge 40 to make sure there weren't any hidden totems, so he's on the lookout for him, but this is risky.
Wow.
Yeah. Stuck around just a little too long. Xron had the Mega spawning just in time, and he had another totem hidden around the corner, so even if Av3k had massively outdamaged him, Xron had something to fall back on. Not this time though. This time Av3k fully prepared, overwhelming Xron with brute force, taking down that totem as well.
Just insane rockets. Get the bucket. Xron literally had a free path to the heavy, just delayed a little bit, and Av3k made him pay. Not only got the frag, got the heavy right out from underneath him. 33 HP, uses the totem, and now Av3k's still on the hunt right now. He wants a piece of those cheeks, Flea, as Xron, 100 HP, reeling now, trying to stack back up off the light armor in the LG room, coming back through the telly for potentially some damage, but he's just a little bit too late. Nice rail, though. Av3k doing a good job of just flying around that map, and as you said, using that double jump.
Speaking of rail, though, before Av3k deliberately, quote-unquote, missed one to take down that totem, he was hitting 100% rail. 7 shots fired, 7 shots landed. Imagine being Xron and playing up against that.
There's just not much you could do. Yeah, good return rails here, but yeah, you're just getting hit with every single rail. It's just so frustrating, so incredibly stifling here as Xron tries to make a move up this jump pad to get to the Mega a little bit early, and then Av3k will take his leave after taking the light armor shard. So trading places here. Xron trying to get some damage through the telly. Needs to be careful and prioritize this Mega, as that's going to be huge for him right now. Here's the jump pad. Knows it's relatively safe to try and take this one, and also should have a free path back to the heavy. So opportunity here for Xron.
Sure is. And unlike some of the previous matches, 40, this is a very manageable comeback, right? Just 1 frag of a difference. That's so far Xron has almost always only been able to turn things in his favor when he was already 5 frags down or something. But now he's actually getting control, but that's a risky bounce pad to take. Luckily the aim, rock solid from Xron. The LG glued to his opponent, tying things up 2-2. This is the best we've seen Xron play all day.
Not bad at all. And it is rare to be able to go toe-to-toe with Av3k with LG, but Xron doing it, using the stack well, is positioning well. Also, pretty good item control. Not bad at all. More LG here as Av3k tries to moonwalk his way back through the banana, double jump with the rocket. Nothing will connect, but he won't take any more extra damage on the way out, so he's going to be more than happy with that.
Xron more damage and more items so far. First time he's been able to do that in this series. But Av3k is looking for a way in. Now, a crucial factor in this situation, 40, is the lack of a railgun on Av3k's end. And Xron knows this. He knows that Av3k doesn't have the rail available, so he can safely take those long-range engagements.
Lovely fake rocket jump there. As he almost follows up with a connection from another rocket. And there's the Berserk popped, and I love the fact that you could cancel that. I will always talk about it. That is one of the best changes to Doomslayer that I've ever seen. Absolutely fantastic. But Xron will pile on this item control more and more. Still tied at 2 after all of that, but Xron definitely looking stronger than map number 1 and 2.
Only downside I see is that Xron hasn't really been able to do much with getting some totems going. Even though he's had control of this side of the map for quite some time now, he still only has 1 totem on the board. And oh no, fumbling the movement and the weapon switch. It's giving Av3k so much room to work with right now. Both players low. Mega just spawned. Xron. Okay.
I like the attempt, but he ended up taking so much damage. Xron still needs to be careful though. Av3k able to claim that armor shard, but ooh, no, the rail. Nice shot, almost gets the connection. Xron, 40 HP, very weak, does have a totem in the pocket, just wants to prioritize this armor. So risky, but gets away with it as Av3k just trying to hit him through the driveway, through the drive-through window, and he finally does. The tri-bolt response is decent, but he gets picked off. That rail from Av3k, so strong.
Tri-bolt has really factored into this matchup a lot. Both players doing almost as much damage with the Tri-bolt as they have with rockets. Oh, but now Xron off the spawn, not once, but twice in a row. That's painful to see. After meticulously holding on to control for so long, that 1 frag has quickly turned into a 3-point deficit. And now Xron is tasked with chasing down a much faster and more mobile champion. Good LG though. This could be the start of something. Not sure about that switch to rockets. Needs a little more. Can he find it before Av3k restacks?
Oh no! Oh.
The awareness hasn't been all there for these past few minutes, I feel like, on Xron's end. Ordy, he's been caught off guard multiple times, just not really checking his corners, not fully aware of where Av3k might be, and he's paying the price for it now. What are you doing, Xron? 33 points of health, still pushing in. Pays off for him in the end, but I'm surprised that he didn't just leave.
Oh no, and I think he just wanted to make sure that rail stays away from Av3k, but yeah, he risked his life there against a machine gun, and he's doing it again against Nails. Needs to be careful. Av3k just lobbing all of that plasma into Xron's face. Both players are weak. The tri-bolt is going to come through. Machine gun from both players, and Av3k just has the stack.
Xron, 7 seconds early for that Mega. I don't know if he was really going for it. Like, it seemed like he was already setting up, staking that fight on the Mega spawning in time, but if he did, that was a major miss time on his end. And now Av3k really running away with the scoreline. 5 frags already, nice rail to boot. But Xron has got the better stack, he's got the better positioning for Mega this time around. Gives it up though. Probably not confident knowing the timing, does get it now, but again, Av3k just sneaking around these corners, constantly chipping away at Xron's stack. That's preventing him from building any sort of momentum for a comeback.
2 minutes, 5 frags. Do you believe, chat? We will see shortly if Xron has what it takes, but Av3k playing this nice and slow. No reason to do anything too crazy here. We're going to probably see that hyper defensive play. It's just absolutely amazing with the defensive rockets and LG. Nice tri-bolt. The whole series really nice tri-bolt from Av3k, just lobbing him through choke points and getting so much free damage, and also just information. Av3k, he is reeling, he does get a light armor. Xron looking to try and open this thing up. He's going to grab a heavy, but Av3k is just more than happy to just eat up the clock right now.
Yeah. That needed to be a ring out, that rail, for Xron to have a chance, I feel like. 70 seconds left to go against the Doomslayer. He needs to hit every single rail. He wants to have a chance, and Av3k is just going to slow this game down to a crawl, hiding around the corner, popping that Berserk the moment he feels threatened. And Xron, he just doesn't have the mobility for this.
Charging through Banana. A lot of potassium. There's LG versus LG. Surely he's going to get this frag, but so much damage from Av3k on that one. Now he needs to be careful. He's running through a choke point. Lots of machine gun. This is free for Av3k. He's going to be able to get this one back, and that's surely the closer for this one, Flea.
Absolutely. Av3k knew exactly how to play that. He is so good at dealing such great amounts of damage that even when Xron was in control, Av3k was able to whittle down that stack of his. And I feel like, yeah, Xron, he was in control for a while, managed to keep it a tight game, but as I pointed out then, the awareness sometimes just really felt kind of lacking. The totem will get him yet another frag, but still, 4-point deficit is what this is going to end things on, and that means that Av3k secures a convincing 3-0 victory.
Not bad at all. Congrats to Av3k for that one, showing another strong week for him. That's 3 in a row, I think. 3-0 as well, as we said. So, wow.
Yeah.
Good on him. Really heating up, especially around this time of the season. That's what you want to see if you're a Xron fan. Unfortunately, coming off a victory, bounced back as you hit the brick wall that is Av3k. Unfortunate. But, you know, there's still more weeks to play. There's still time, Flea, in the season.
There absolutely is. This is only week 8, so plenty of matches yet to come for both of these players, for Av3k to hopefully continue building that momentum leading up to the finals and finally make a good stand at LAN, and for Xron to hopefully revert this streak of losses. Yes, he's managed to beat, I believe, Saigib it was, just last week even, but any momentum he may have gotten from that clearly has been nullified in today's series, so hopefully Xron go back to the drawing board, maybe make a few changes to his playstyle, and continue on a better note come next week.
Yeah, definitely have to review the VOD and kind of see where it all went wrong as we take a look at the breakdown from the stats from Awoken 10 to 6. I think Av3k hit 10 or 11 frags every single map, so very consistent play. Very good with the passive style play, setting traps, ambushing. Very good defensive rockets and LG, and fantastic rail to open up the series, especially on Ruins. So shouts to Av3k, fantastic performance. Unfortunately for Xron, just ran into the brick wall that is Av3k right there as we take a look at the set breakdown as well. Really well done there.
Yeah, I feel like Xron was starting to play better towards the end, but indeed the brick wall was just too strong. I also just loved seeing the overall contrast in skins for you. I don't know if you've noticed, Av3k every single time he just goes for the base skin, the most plain one that there is, and Xron, he just goes as outrageous as he can. That green, neon pink Galena skill, it gives me the shivers every time I see it, but hey, maybe you can throw your opponent off, so who knows what Xron was going for with that one.
Look, if you're gonna lose fashionably. That's what I'm gonna say.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm just saying you could look great and lose too. But that is done for the first set. We're done. We got 6 more on the way. Still a whole bunch of Quake. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.